Good morning and welcome to Opening Doors. I'm your host, Warren Wortham, the manager for the Martin Luther King Jr. Center of Hawkeye Community College. We have a great show lined up for you this morning, but before we get into our show and introduce our guest, I do want to mention that the Relay for Life will be held on the Hawkeye Community College main campus on June 18th, 2014. Again, the Relay for Life will be held on the Hawkeye Community College main campus on June 18th, 2014. Well, we have a lot of content this morning, and actually, all of this content will be pertaining to a lot of the questions that we have been receiving at the Martin Luther King Center recently regarding some great new opportunities and programming that Hawkeye Community College is providing for the community. So, with that, we're going to jump right into the show, and I'm going to allow my guests to introduce themselves and give us their title, and then we'll take it from there. So, I'll start off with you.
Good morning. I'm Darcy Kraus. I am Career Pathway Navigator with Hawkeye Community College, and I work in a tuition assistance program that can provide tuition assistance for short-term training for high-demand jobs.
Fantastic. And our next guest is?
Hi, my name is Jerry Orr, and my title is Trade and Industry Coordinator for Hawkeye Community College. And my job basically is I coordinate classes, instructors, and students to get them together for training opportunities.
Great. Well, I want to thank you both for being on my show again. You were on recently, and that has just really spiked our number of calls that we've gotten about the programming that you both offer and the services that are available. So I want to jump right in because I see you have a lot of content. A lot of people have been calling the King Center recently asking about things such as CNC, CNA, industrial maintenance, heavy equipment operation and everything. So I know those are like your program areas. So I want to give you both an opportunity to kind of tell us what you have to offer. And we'll start with Jerry.
All right, thank you. And again, thanks for having us today. Let's start with the CNC class that we have set up. We have not run this class, so this will be our first one. We're excited about it. We got a new CNC lab in our building in Cedar Falls Industrial Park, and we're anxious to get it going. So we have a CNC class set up to start on July 22nd. It will be Tuesday and Wednesday evenings from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And that program actually is 180 hours long, so you'll be going to class 2 nights a week until November 19th. We have an informational meeting coming up on June 18th at 6 o'clock at the Cedar Falls Center. If you would like to come out and ask some questions, hopefully we'll have maybe instructor and maybe some people from the industry that can take questions for anything that you would have. CNC is it's a variety of types of manufacturing environments. Training is set up to program the machines, set them up, operate them, and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a great, it's a job that's in demand. So,
And you know, you hit that nail right on the head, because if you look through the job ads in the newspaper, that's a great deal of what you see is openings for people that have their CNC qualifications fulfilled. Companies pretty much everywhere are looking for people to fill those positions.
right, yeah. You're going to gain knowledge and hands-on skills in blueprint reading, precision measurement and gauging, turning and milling process, and then the mill and lathe programming and operations. So we're going to teach you a variety of things, but you know, CNC machines do a variety of things.
Yes.
You know, almost any industry out there has some type of CNC machine. So yeah, we're excited about this thing getting going.
Fantastic. Now, is there funding opportunities? Is it traditional financial aid, or do students have to look at other funding opportunities?
Well, this is non-credit, so financial aid, you know, your normal financial aid for colleges does not apply to these, but thankfully we have Darcy.
And I work in the what's called GAP, Tuition Assistance Program, And it's called gap because there is that gap there between what financial aid covers and what it doesn't cover. Short-term training like the CNC class, and then even things like nurse aid or the 6-week CDL class, all those programs that Warren just mentioned, those aren't covered by financial aid. So across the state, all community colleges have been allocated funding to cover some of these gaps in tuition. So you are taking classes as a non-credit student. You don't necessarily need a high school diploma or GED, or now they're called HiSET. However, for CNC, for example, you need to have pretty good math and pretty good computer skills in order to be successful in the class. But the GAP program is based on family size and income, which is pretty generous, and we have found that most people will qualify. It's much higher than it is for other types of public assistance. So for example, if you're independent, a family size of 1, it's an income of $29,175 for the last 12 months. For a family size of 4, so maybe mom, dad, and 2 kids, or mom and 3 kids, it's $59,625. That's a pretty generous amount, and actually that number they came up with was based on, you know, a family size. If you could be working, both parents could be working, earning $10, $12 an hour and still be eligible. And the point of this training, especially things like CNC machining, it'll get you, by getting just some short-term training, it's 2 nights a week for 4 months, will really get you a good bump in pay. Because what do those CNC jobs pay, Jerry?
Yes, that's a good question.
Actually, we're saying, of course, there's a lot of variances, of course. Some people are gonna pay more than others, but we're looking at $24,000 to $33,500 per year starting out, and that doesn't include overtime. And as you know, a lot of these businesses are working overtime, so then you start, you know, gaining time and a half, so the income is definitely gonna be going up from there, so, yes.
Now, Darcy, another question that's come up recently. We've had some people call and inquire about these programs, but they have concerns because they might owe Hawkeye some money. Is there still any opportunities for them to pursue these programs?
Yes, that is a common situation, and we realize that's a barrier to going back to school for many people. So because these classes are non-credit, you may be able to enroll in classes on the non-credit side without having repaid past payments or past debts to the college. Certainly with the hope that, you know, once you get some additional training, become employed, that you would be able to repay what you may owe at the college. And also with that, because it is part of a career pathway, maybe then consider going back for even additional training.
Yes.
So these pathways are kind of, just like nurse aid, for example. You don't need to have a high school diploma or GED to get nurse aid training. However, once you get your training, if you decide that you want to go back, you would need to have a high school diploma or GED. You could do that. You could then jump back into school and go for your LPN or RN. So realizing that people still need to work and have some money coming in to pay bills. So that's why they're offered at, you know, unique times, like the CNC class, 5 till 10, 2 nights a week, is really a schedule that could allow someone who is working even full-time to go to school to get that extra training and develop those skills. And basically all the training that's offered through the GAP Tuition Assistance Program are things that you're gonna see in the paper or in the job listings, high demand. The CNC, nurse aide, getting your CDL, commercial driver's license for trucking, industrial maintenance. And so all of those programs are really to turn around pretty quickly to get you in and out and on the job in a short period of time.
And you know, Darcy, that's a great segue into something I mentioned every show. Hawkeye Community College has a way of assessing the community needs, finding programming to fit those needs, or building those programs from the ground up. Would you both agree?
Oh, definitely. Yep, that's our goal, because we're here to help people find jobs. So we don't want to run programs that when people get done with them, they don't, the job isn't out there for them. We want to get them employed. So that's we definitely look at that.
And you know, I think that's really incredible too, because you know, we've come into an era where a lot of people have to look at new career options because maybe the company they've worked for years has closed or moved away. And so with these opportunities you're both offering, it allows a person to, like you said, jump into short-term training. You know, I need to get an income going quickly, and I need more than minimum wage, so they can jump in, obtain the skill really quick, and then get into the workforce making really decent starting money. Would you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, well, building on that point of starting wages and having the skills to get that extra bump in pay, we at Hawkeye and with these programs are working with area businesses on asking them, what do you need? What type of skills do you need your new workers to have? And they are working very closely with us. We've actually broken down into, we call them sector boards, but groups of business and educators, and talking about, what types of trainings can we do to get people employed? What are, again, back to that term gaps, what are the gaps that the businesses have in somebody that has maybe a 4-year degree and someone who's the very entry level with some short-term training can give someone that step up to the next level of pay, next level of skill, and again, looking for possible future training beyond that.
You know, you brought up a good point too about students that may owe money to Hawkeye being able to get into this skill, obtain that skill, start making good money, pay Hawkeye, the balance that they owe with Hawkeye, and then come back to Hawkeye to build on those skills, because we actually see that quite a bit with the CNA, for instance. I usually go in and survey the class, and usually about 98% of the students are planning on, continuing on with their nursing field, and CNA is kind of like their first, foray into the health sciences. So I think this is something fantastic. I do want to touch on CDL too. I know I talked to Marty Kroenke, and he had mentioned, the truck and transportation industry is going to be about 450,000 drivers short due to, people, retiring and just attrition. And so with that happening, you have a lot of the trucking companies now have, come in when these students are in the program and actually gotten a chance to tell the students what they expect, and then kind of offer them positions before they even, finish the program. And so you just can't beat that.
Yep, a lot of those companies come into the training center where students are working on their CDL, and they're making offers before they even finish the class. So that's about the best possible scenario right there.
Yes, and I had one student of the program recently mentioned that, he got an offer and it's like $55,000 starting, and so it's like, that's good money, especially starting.
Right.
Jerry, what other programs do you also offer?
Of course, we have industrial maintenance, which we started back in April. We have a good class that's going. They are coming to our Cedar Falls Center 5 days a week from 4 o'clock until 9 o'clock every day. So since that program is a lot longer, it's 448 hours compared to the 180 for CNC. We're making them obviously commit a little more time, but we've talked to the 11 gentlemen that are in the program right now, and they all like the fact that they can get it, even if it is 5 days a week, because they're anxious to get done and get out there and get a job. So, yeah, we're going to start another industrial maintenance class in September. We have an informational meeting about that on August 7th at 6 o'clock. Industrial maintenance, we're covering, we're giving them some math that is very necessary, and then we're covering some electrical systems, power, fluid power, mechanical systems, motors and controls, PLC programming. So they're getting very good basic training that would apply out there in the industry for, you know, a variety of different types of machinery.
Now, for these programs, I know we mentioned that there's to get gap tuition funding, there's a income guideline that's really generous. Are there any other requirements to get into these programs, like a compass test or anything of that nature?
You don't need to take the compass test, which is necessary if you are going to Hawkeye as a 4-credit student. But in order to get gap tuition assistance, you do need to take the NCRC. NCRC stands for National Career Readiness Certificate. It is a free assessment that's offered at the Iowa Workforce Centers, and it takes about, I think, about 3 hours. It's math, reading, and locating information. There's no minimum score required on this. However, for some of the programs, such as CNC or industrial maintenance, there may be some competition on getting in. For example, this CNC is so popular, we don't even have the brochures printed yet, and we have at least 7 or 8 individuals who are waiting to get into the class. So it's definitely a high demand area,
Yes.
not only from the business standpoint for companies that want to hire workers with these skills, but also from the community standpoint, that people realize that these are good jobs. They're not real, the CNC is not real labor intensive, but it does require some pretty advanced math and computer skills. The other assessment that we have individuals do besides the NCRC is to take an interest inventory. And that only takes about 5 minutes, but it really kind of gets a sense of, are you a good fit? Are you a math person? Do you like the detail that is involved with computers and math? Or are you more a social person? Would you be better in the nursing area or working more with people? So that's another assessment that we have individuals take, and you can find out about the details and whether or not you're eligible by contacting either going through our website, which is careertraining@hawkeyecollege.edu, or you can call our number 319-296-4247, and we can get you set up for the orientation to find out about GAP. You learn about the tuition assistance, the various programs that are covered, and start the application process if that's what you decide to do. And that's when you would decide which area, you know, if you wanted to get your CDL, nurse aid. Maybe we also offer welding classes. I don't know if that was mentioned, but welding classes every, I'd say 2 or 3 months approximately.
Really? Can you tell us a little bit more about the welding offer?
Our welding program is actually 48 hours in the lab welding, and then we've added another 20 hours of blueprint reading for welding, and we're anxious ambitious. We are hoping to get a welding lab in Cedar Falls as well. We do have one on campus, and then that we can utilize some, but of course with the credit program, we have to pick and choose our times there. And we also have one in Independence, a welding lab. So, but yeah, we're looking forward to getting maybe a welding lab in our center. That way we can even add more welding classes.
Now, the welding, I'd also consider a short-term training program.
Yes.
Now, one of the interesting things I was told about welding also is that there's a high demand for women in welding because women have better hand-eye coordination with small detail work or something of that nature. And so I've been told that women that go into what's considered a non-traditional field in welding can pretty much write their ticket anywhere in the U.S. once completing that program. And men that go into nursing, because they have certain things they can do better just because of, physiology, than women that they're in high demand can pretty much write their ticket anywhere in the U.S. Is there any validity to that?
Actually, I don't know a lot about that area, but it makes sense to me, so I would surely think that that's true, because there is a certain amount of like welding, like you say, hand-eye coordination that, a good welder has that maybe you can't actually teach that. It's each personal trait that some people have and some don't, so it makes sense, yes.
Wow.
What the welding instructor mentioned to one of our groups as part of kind of the orientation was that what they're teaching in our classes is MIG welding, and that TIG welding, which is a two-handed type of process, that specifically is where women, it's a finer, more detailed operation. That's where women tend to excel. It's a little slower pace, but it's a fine motor skill.
Okay.
And that's sort of the area. So there are three, and I learned this. I continue to learn myself, but I learned about the three types of welding. So sometimes you'll hear MIG, TIG, and stick welding.
Wow, I didn't even know there was 3 different types.
Yep. So what they are focused on, because it is short-term training, you won't get all 3 types, but you will get the MIG welding experience. Now, if you went on, for example, and we have a couple students who have finished our short-term training and then are planning to start back full-time in the fall in the welding program, then you'll be exposed and get that additional experience to all 3 types of welding.
Wow, that is fantastic. Well, we're coming up on the last few minutes of the show, so I want to give you each an opportunity to share some additional information that you want the community to know about. So with that, I'll start with you, Jerry.
All right. First of all, I want to cover our 2 informational meetings. For the CNC is June 18th at 6 o'clock at the Cedar Falls Center. That's at 5330 Nordic Drive in Cedar Falls. And then the informational meeting for the industrial maintenance is August 7th at 6 o'clock in the same location. So we could also cover the cost of the programs. The cost for the CNC is $1,699. And the cost for the industrial maintenance is $4,499. But there again, there may be some opportunities if you qualify, and Darcy can work with you on that. Space is limited. We have our CNC, we are limited to 10 people per class. Industrial maintenance, we're cutting them off at 12. So space is limited. And one other thing I wanted to mention, we mentioned times for these classes. If those times didn't work for you, I still would say come to the informational meetings, because we're looking at other opportunities as far as different times of the day for these programs. So maybe evenings don't work for some people, but we're looking at maybe we could do something in the morning. So if you're interested, come.
you know, that was the perfect information you just added, because that's one of the other questions we've gotten is, what if what they're offering doesn't fit my work schedule? So you just answered that. Still come to the info meeting, because there still may be opportunities for you to take advantage of these opportunities. So, and Darcy.
And don't hold off on waiting for those informational meetings if you are interested in getting GAP tuition assistance to pay for some short-term training. Contact our office at 319-296-4247 and start the process. Also, it's a good time for us to get feedback from you. If for example, you say, well, I would love to do CNC, but I work second shift, for example. I would need to attend a daytime class. That way we can start a list of individuals who are interested, and you know, we may have future dates that have not been published yet that we can get you on the list for the next round. And based on community feedback, we can design classes to meet the needs of the individuals that are seeking the training.
That is fantastic. Well, we're at the end of our show, so I'm going to give you both one more opportunity to share contact information or how a person can start the process. And so, Darcy, I'll start with you.
Okay, contact Hawkeye Community College. The number is 319-296-4247, or you can go to the website careertraining@hawkeyecollege.edu. We are actually physically located at the Workforce Center on University Avenue, 3420 University. If you just happen to walk in, you will be directed to the orientation, and we can get you signed up for orientation as well. So please don't hesitate to call with questions or contact us. We would be happy to answer questions and get you signed up.
Now, when they call, is there any particular person they need to ask for, or anything in particular they need to say they're looking to get involved with?
You can ask for GAP. We have a team of 3, Sue, Megan, and myself, and any one of us would be able to help you. And actually, we keep our staff pretty well informed, so they know also about classes that are going on and can get you signed up for the NCRC, those types of things. Or you'll be seeing flyers out and about that may have Jerry's contact information.
Yeah. My office is in the industrial park in Cedar Falls on 5330 Nordic Drive. But my phone number is 319-296-2329, and my extension is 3010. Also, you got our whole business and community education number is 296-4290, and we have staff there that answer the phone till a lot of times right late into the evening. So if unfortunately I'm not there that late, but somebody can take a message and we'll be happy to call you back.
Great. Well, listeners, you've heard it here first. If you have any questions or are interested in any of these programs, you know how to contact the appropriate people at the corporate numbers and website and addresses. So please take advantage of these opportunities and enjoy this great day. You've been listening to Opening Doors. Thank you.